All righty, folks, it is January 16th. And what we need to remember is what Beth has told us before. And again, remember, Beth is a top 1% agent nationally. So we're talking the best of the best. She has told us that King County, AKA Seattle, changes January 1st. This is with 25 years of experience. And the reason that this is important to all of us is if King County, Seattle moves first in the spring selling season, it might be an indicator of what is coming across the country, because I think most of us don't really start spring until the middle of February, some of us the middle of March. So, Beth, we're 2 weeks into 2024. Historically speaking, you've told us spring selling starts as soon as the calendar turns. We all want to know what's going on in King County, Washington.
Hi there. Well, thank you for that intro, Mike. And so good to be back here, and Happy New Year, everybody. And it is true that in the greater Seattle area, we start to see things start to heat up right after the holidays, immediately after the holidays. Where the tension is that creates some of the increase in demand is the fact that it takes sellers longer to get their homes ready to list. Sellers aren't typically ready to list January 2nd. They need a little time after the holidays to prep the house. And for a lot of people, that can take 2 to 4 weeks, depending on any number of things. So we start to see more listings start to pop up, usually second, third week of January. I am not seeing that so far. It feels like deja vu from January 2023, because this was exactly what we saw back then. And so I'm not seeing that dynamic change at all. Our inventory is extremely low. We're really close to 1 month, or in my buy box, we have 0.65 months inventory. So what is that? A little over 2 weeks of inventory. So, and in my buy box too, there have been maybe, I mean, I can count them on less than, 10 fingers, the number of new listings that have come on since January 1st. So, but what I am hearing and seeing out there is that those that are coming on, now we're not talking about the ones that aren't prepped right or priced too high, like the ones that are gems that are priced right and marketed right are getting huge activity, open houses jam-packed, multiple offers. I've heard some even in the core areas having 10 to 16 offers on a listing, and we haven't seen that in a while. So,
wow.
But there are also some other stragglers out there that still have been on the market for a while. And I think that those are still the opportunities that are out there, the hidden opportunities. Well, they're not hidden. They're right there in plain view. They're easy to skip over because people visually go, oh, well, there's that one again, and just dismiss it. Or the photos are bad, or the seller has too much stuff and it's confusing, or something is wrong, or the price is a little too high, or shop worn from too many days on the market. Those are the ones where there's opportunities, but the hot new listings, watch out. So we're seeing that.
So I want to pull this back, because again, I think King County will be, again, if everything we've talked about over the last 2 or 3 years is true, it's an early indicator for the country.
Yeah.
So I guess the first thing to go back to is demand, right? Because as you kind of shared, demand percolates first, because it takes a while for sellers to get, to take down the Christmas tree, take down the lights,
correct,
declutter, all of that. Okay, great. So on the demand side, it sounds like, again, 16 days into the new year, it's percolating, maybe even steaming, because you're getting 10 to 16 offers on a clean property.
Yeah.
In December, I think we talked, you would get 2 or 3. So
correct.
We're already seeing
on the hot listings, we'd get 2 or 3. So, and
now
for
16.
December, I don't have, now up to 16. So I have several sellers in the hopper that we're getting ready to list real soon here. And I'm advising them in a shifting market that could be shifting in sellers' favor. I advise them to do what we do in our area when things are hotter, is we set an offer review date where we say any offers will be reviewed on Tuesday, listed on Thursday, market it like crazy, review offers on Tuesday. And just to hedge, because if you're a seller, if I was a seller right now, I'd want to test the market a little bit, get everybody through there, see what happens. If you don't get any offers, then you just remove any mention of that and just carry on. Right. But what I'm finding is there's been a few that haven't had review dates that have gone pending in one day, and things have gotten really crazy. There could be some missed opportunity there. And I'm talking from the seller's perspective,
Yeah.
but from
Yeah.
if you're a seller and you want to leverage this asset to get the most that you can, that's my role as a listing agent, is to help them do that.
Mm.
So, and for
Wow.
buyers, it's how to be savvy about that. If I was representing a buyer, which I am right now, I would say the way to do it is to try to get in there and try to get, a lot of agents don't have their finger on the pulse quite as much as others do. The ones that
Right.
are most active are going to have their fingers on the pulse. The ones that don't, average agent sells less than one home a year. So let's say if something comes on the market and there is no review date, you know it's hot, I would say just get in there immediately with an offer right away. Now that's if you're educated and ready to pull the trigger and all those other things are in place and it's a good house for you to live in or a good deal. Like, I'm not saying do anything crazy, but if you want to circumvent the bidding war, the way to do it is to get in there quick and ignore the review date. That's another thing. Good agents, in my opinion, will stick with that review date, because I've always had sellers do better on the review date than any early offer that comes in. But when I'm representing the buyer, I'll say, okay, offers reviewed on Tuesday. Here's this amazing offer today on Friday. How about we take this today? Sometimes that will work, and they'll just ignore the review date. So there's a strategy for you. But the fact that we're having those conversations again brings me back. Now, we're not in 2021. We had in January 2021, for example, I'm going, 3 years back now, but that was our craziest year. We had 0.2 months of inventory in all of King County, Greater Seattle area. And then we had interest rates at 3. So that was just a powder keg, like I'll probably never see again in my
Yeah.
career.
We don't want to see that again.
No, we don't. And we're not saying that. But what I am seeing is I think this year is going to be more positive than a lot of people are predicting. Now, I'm not talking nationwide, because I do know also in the greater Seattle area, we got hit really hard and early with the correction. Once the rates spiked, it just slammed really fast and corrected really fast. That summer of 2022 was when we saw inventory spike, demand drop, prices go down, all those things. But I know when we were, around the time that we were talking about that, I'd hear from other colleagues in other parts of the country, like, what are you talking about? Florida's still rocking, or whatever, these other areas. And they kept, I don't know that market nearly as well as I know my own, of course, but what I heard is that some of those other areas, the market stayed stronger a lot longer, but now maybe they're feeling a little more of the pain now, potentially. So it's always going to be different from area, but
the reason I want to,
it's moving up.
Yeah, the reason I love this conversation is we try to be early. And again, in your market, it generally moves earlier than others. So if you're in the rest of the country, realize that you have a couple of weeks until your spring selling season starts. So maybe you have the stragglers, the ugly pictures, you have opportunities, right? Write the disrespectful offers. It doesn't hurt. But yeah, if rates fall more, like another half a point, get to 6%, or heaven forbid 5.99.
I know.
I don't have any.
And what I've heard from other brokers is, the rates are better, but if prices are going hundreds of thousands over list price in certain, it's more than offsetting that. So any potential gain from that is just evaporated. So,
well, let's go to the second thing. So that was demand, right? Demand moves first. You've coached us on that. Makes perfect sense. Now let's talk about supply. So you've indicated that you're working with some sellers that are cleaning up, decluttering, getting ready. How does that quantity feel and compare with what you did last year, and then maybe in the stupid, crazy year of 2021?
Yeah. So I'd say it's a little bit, it's not quite as many as in 2021, because the move up buyer /
that's true. Yeah.
Still, because the move up buyer
That was a
is
thing.
seller
Yeah.
too. So that there's less of that. Although I have been chatting with some people a while back that were on the fence that are now off the fence due to other life changes that nudge them off the fence. So that's the thing, if people have other factors going on in their lives that will make it so it makes sense. But for most people, it seems like it's a relocation out of the area or some sort of life event change that like a divorce or a death or something like that. Those are the
Right.
things that we're seeing most. So the inventory still being down. Our listings this is for December. We know it's too early to know exactly what's happening this week in January, but I don't think it's changed much. But we're down 35% in listing inventory from 2023. So
Wow.
it's not exactly it's not exactly a redo. It's lower,
Yeah,
so
that's not good because remember,
no,
2023 started slow.
it started slow and it's really, really slow. I'm happy to be as busy as I am. I feel fortunate.
Mhm.
But it's going to be another lean year, I think, for transactions. I just don't see that changing. There's nothing to indicate that that's changing.
Yeah, in order to have transactions, Beth, you have to have supply.
Yeah.
That's
Can't
just
sell something not for sale. So,
exactly wild.
yeah.
So I guess the last thing I want to ask you about, and maybe you don't have the data for this, which is totally okay. Has the rates being a point lower, point and a half lower than they were 3 months ago, has that made any interest in buyers? Have buyers said, "Oh, I'm looking again," or you really don't know?
We've had more coming out because of that for sure. Because if people were running their numbers based on a higher rate, say around a 8, and now it's
Six and a
significantly
half.
lower,
Yeah.
it feels like a gift. So,
Yeah. The consumer is so easy
mhm,
to predict. Do you
mhm,
know when 6.5 feels bad? When you're used to 4.
yeah.
You know when 6.5 feels great? When you're used to 8.
Yeah.
Just an
I guess the
anchoring
fact that it's
bias.
moving down at all, and the mortgage brokers that I network with, et cetera, have been seeing upticks and
Oh, you want to talk about mortgage brokers? I had 2 or 3 call me over the weekend because I talked to Matt, the mortgage guy, and Convoy Home Loans and
yeah,
Velocity, right? So I get a lot of phone calls from these guys and other people, and they're like what Matt said, his pre-approval quantity the last 2 weeks has shot through the roof. And they're
mm,
like, you have no idea. I've One guy said he hasn't written this many pre-approval letters since 2020. And
yeah,
I'm like, oh no. If the inventory doesn't show up, what
yeah.
does this mean?
As an owner of multiple investment properties, for my portfolio, I think it's going to do great this year.
Yeah, I think
But,
so. Yeah.
that's one side of it. But for people that are looking to buy right now, I would say it's very easy. But I've seen this every year as there's always a seasonal cycle, right? We're just seeing more extremes in the cycles. But what I see every year is there's a slowdown. We often see it around the summertime here, but let's just say there's a slowdown for whatever reason. Buyers can get used to thinking that they have all the time in the world and they can think about it for a long time and circle back and circle back. And then as soon as they make an offer and they get beat by 4 other better offers, then even though I advise them, this is the time that we can take the time, be more thoughtful, offer lower. Now is your chance to not compete, et cetera, et cetera. It's hard to believe that because they haven't personally experienced it. For me, it's easy
Right.
because I've seen it and personally experienced it
Year
so
after
many
year
times.
after year.
So we
Yeah.
just know this is what's going to happen, but they have to have trust in that. But some people don't want to I don't know, they want to hem and haw wait, they want to, and then they make an offer that might be disrespectful on the hot new listing and get
Yeah.
clobbered.
That's not the one to do it on,
Yeah,
folks.
no, you got to
Don't
be
do it on that
strategic
one.
about it. I love the disrespectful offer. I love it, but it's got to be on the right house, in the right
Yeah. Hey,
situation.
same
But
here.
and I've gotten many of my deals that way. So
Oh, yeah, me too.
I'm not anti, I'm pro, but we all want a good deal.
Not on
But
the first
we
day.
want a
Not on the
great
first day.
deal. Yeah, but not these hot new listings. You got to take the temperature, and sometimes it's best just to sit it out.
Yeah, just wait. Because I've seen plenty of hot listings go get in contract, come back, go, and then suddenly they're not the hot listing. There's hair on
Suddenly
it.
they're not. Or here's the one, if you're in a market that does offer review dates like we do, if it's still on the market the day after, jump
Yeah.
in.
There you go. There you
So
go.
because there's still ways to make it work, but I would say, get your running shoes on, people. I think that
Yeah.
that's the direction we're going.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be fun to watch. We will definitely check in on this topic the next couple of weeks as we get to the end of January. But first and foremost, one of the things I love that you do for our community, Beth, is we obviously are nationwide, and you have a nationwide network of other top 1% agents. So if somebody wanted to say, hey, I want to get a Beth Traverso in Memphis or Dallas or Miami, how do they reach out to you to get those connections?
Yeah, I love connecting with people from one rental at a time. The community is amazing and I enjoy that so much. I can be found at bethtraversogroup.com. You can send me a message through there, or you can message me through Facebook, Instagram, etc. Best way to get me though is through that website. And I look forward to hearing from people, and I love to play matchmaker. So let's do
There you
it.
go. Thank
Yeah.
you for doing all that, Beth. I know it takes extra time. It's very helpful.
Way to do
Thank you.
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank